Today I effed up by not realizing the cute gym employee thinks I'm a trans woman. Since the COVID lockdown happened, I have been letting my hair grow out. At first it was because all the barber shops were closed, but then even after I got my hands on a hair clipper it became more amusing to see how far I could take this. COVID had put a stop to my dating life, so I wasn't trying to clean up for anyone. So after a year of letting my hair grow out, it is now shoulder length. Another side effect of COVID is my weight. I used to go to the gym regularly but stopped once the gyms were closed due to COVID. I have never been the type to run on the streets, so my weight gained the COVID 25, akin to the proverbial freshman 15. I have a pretty skinny frame to begin with, so what that means is that all the fat went to my stomach and my now man boobs. There is just one last piece of information before I can start. I am the type of Asian that has trouble growing facial hair. So now we can begin. As most of you know, we are reaching the light at the end of the tunnel in terms of COVID. Most states are relaxing their lockdown restrictions and my gym finally reopened last week. Eager to get back into shape, I went on the first day of the reopening. I do my thing on the machines and maybe pushed myself a little too hard, or perhaps I am just that out of shape because I was a complete mess by the end of my workout. I make my way toward the men's room, but this cute gym employee who was sanitizing the water fountain in between the men's and women's room intercepted me. She said, "You can use that one," pointing to the women's room, and in my exhausted and muscle already starting to ache state, I only thought perhaps there was something wrong with the men's room and that they closed it off. So I go in the women's room. It was empty because the gym just reopened, and I take care of business. When I come out, she said, "I think what you're doing is brave," and I for some reason thought she meant going to the gym again and said thanks. It wasn't until I got to my car that the light bulb in my head finally turned on. She must think I'm a trans woman. The long hair, man boobs and no facial hair. Now it wouldn't be so bad if that was the only interaction I have with her, but the next day she came over as I was running on the treadmill to introduce herself. And because I have been going to the gym almost every day since I'm serious about getting back into shape, she and I have developed a sort of friendship. Just today she asked how long I have been transitioning, and I said since COVID. I don't know how long I can keep this up for. This is the cheapest gym in my area, so I don't want to switch. TLDR, gained long hair and moobs during COVID. Gym finally reopened and cute employee thinks I'm a trans woman. You can totally fix this by explaining that you thought transitioning meant getting back into shape. Has she not asked for your name? Or do you happen to have a gender-neutral sounding name? Just call me Pat. There was a person named Pat who worked in the gardening section at the Walmart in my hometown. Pat was short and squat with long hair and a sparse mustache. I could not for the life of me figure out if Pat was a woman with a mustache or a man with a moobs. Even Pat's voice threw me off. It was mid-range in pitch. So, low for a female but high for a male. I think Pat was a woman, but I was never sure. The reason why I remember her name after 15 years was because I was so desperately hoping the name tag would give me a hint. It only mocked me. Have you seen It's Pat? No. Oh my god. I just googled it. Definitely is not what was 25 years ago when I was in elementary school. I just watched a Pat sketch. In concept it's a funny joke. In sketch form, okay, Jesus peeping Christ, we get it. Is there where SpongeBob's laugh came from? Ooh. Pet needs a slap in the face. Let this go too far and you will 100% transition to a woman just to save face. This reminds me of an episode of Family Guy, where Peter went to a third sex restroom. It was in a sports stadium and the camera just like it's our first trans woman fan. Or something like that. Then he just went for a sex change. Didn't he also get a sex change after he went to that women camp as a punishment for being sexist? If I'm thinking of the same episode, Peter makes light of the pain of childbirth and is told that it's like having your bottom lip stretched around your head. He later falls out of a tree and is injured in that exact fashion and, having experienced a woman's pain, is better able to relate to them. He doesn't literally get a sex change. LMFAO. Tell her the truth. Say you didn't want to out her in a weird position and that you were kinda embarrassed, and stop using the women's locker before it gets out of hand. I know I should, but the thought of telling her makes me cringe already. The solution is simple. Find the right time to ask something like, "Hey, so are the men's changing rooms back up and running now? Can I start to use them again?" And then she'll look confused as hell because she's made a cock-up of an assumption. And then when she says something like, "Wait, what? Aren't you like transitioning? I thought you were trans?" And then you can say, "Wait, what? Is that why you told me to use the women's changing room?" And then when she starts to feel super embarrassed, you can be all like, "Oh my goodness, it all makes sense now. I thought you were being super encouraging about me getting back into shape and that there was something wrong with the men's rooms." And when she starts to apologize, you just say, "Hey, it's all good. It's no big deal. Honestly, we were both confused and everyone lives happily ever after." This is a decent attempt to get back to some type of normal level between the two, because obviously it is going to get worse the longer it goes unresolved. Only solution is to leave and never come back. That's honestly all my socially anxious brain would tell me. All the other gyms near you are way more expensive. Too bad, idiot. Not having to deal with this is worth millions. My big brain? God, I'm right there with you. The number of bridges I've nuked with social anxiety is not able to be calculated by current human intellect. Who needs a nuke when you can just cast your gaze upon the bridge and cause it to disintegrate? Mothman? Is that you? So my name is not Rachel, but for some reason my esthetician thought it was and I was too awkward to correct her. After a year of seeing her once a month and responding to Rachel, she told me she was moving to Texas. Okay, phew, I can find someone new and use my real name. My mom also went to see her and forgot about the Rachel fiasco and said how Shannon and I are really going to miss you. I got lucky she was moving. Op has to become a woman now. I play soccer with two Chinese dudes who like to play on the left wing. They look vaguely similar due to a haircut but are obviously different people. I stopped playing for like 2 months with an injury and forgot who was who. I guessed. I got it wrong. One of them let me call him Walter for like 2 hours. Actual Walter was on the other team. Nobody said speep until I overheard someone else talking to him. Singaporean before someone gets confused by the Walter Chinese bit. As a twin, I can confirm I've just pretended to be my twin when someone called my name wrong, especially when someone is just passing by and not stopping for a long chat. Same. Although usually it's the reverse. I get stuck chatting to a stranger while they think I'm disinterested and rude. I've ruined some of her new friendships by accident. If someone mixes you up with someone else, even a twin, and you continue the conversation without correcting them, and it has happened multiple times, it isn't an accident anymore. Exactly, it's not hard to just say, oh actually that's my sister, and then have a funny conversation with a random person. Pretending to be someone you're not just to not deal with the slightest of awkwardness is just sad. Tell her, hey, the other day when you asked me how long I've been transitioning, I realized when I got home you probably think I'm a trans woman, but at the moment of your question I thought you were asking about getting back in shape. So, just in case, I wanted to clear it up that I'm a man, but I think it's great you're so supportive of trans people. Solution found. Nice job. D. This is some modern Seinfeld speep. I was terrified, but I pressed on, and as I made my way past the lockers, a strange calm came over me. I don't know if it was divine intervention or the kinship of all living things, but I tell you, Reddit, at that moment I was a trans woman. I heard his voice, LOL. Just get a haircut. It sounds like there's still room for you to pretend you thought she was talking about you transforming your fitness. Get a clearly masculine haircut, and pretend you never thought she mistook you for a trans woman. I'm expecting the employee side of the story here next. Today I effed up by assuming one of our clients was trans and now it's clear he was just unkempt and now I have to keep it up and I don't know what to do, help. As a trans woman, this is peeping hilarious Lamau. God damn it. I initially thought it was something entirely different. That's a pretty long username you have there, sir. Well done. It's too late now. You have to switch gyms. Gender. This reminds me of the Office episode when Holly thought Kevin was special. I just giggled. This reads like a George-centered Seinfeld episode written for 2021. My guy, tomorrow when you go to the gym, walk right up to her and just explain everything. I'm sure you'll both laugh about it once she gets past the embarrassment of assuming you were transitioning. I'd keep it very lighthearted. Don't dig yourself deeper by continuing with it. I can't believe you went along with it at all, honestly. LMFAO. Good luck on getting back in shape and good luck, period. Please let us know how things go when you finally confess the truth. Haha. Well, now we need a pick. This. You need to bite the bullet and transition to a woman. Otherwise it's going to get super awkward. Wow, this is awkward as speep. Also hilarious. Sorry. If it were me, I'd probably just switch gyms. Lol, this is hilarious. You could always say you thought she meant transition as in fitness. I know it feels cringe to you, but if you get a haircut and genuinely just act like you didn't know what she meant, you'll be fine, and she'll definitely learn a lesson about just assuming that people don't know which washrooms to use or switching their gender. Lol. If he cuts 10 pounds and gets a haircut before he sees her again, she might just not recognize him. Lol. He could cut his hair and pretend to be his own sibling. OMG, please op. Pretend to be your sister's twin brother. Then you can say your sister moved away for a job and recommended that gym. I've solved it. Solutions have been brought up by others. I'm just here to say we're going to need an update when you straighten this up. Jesus man. You're too far in. Time to start testosterone blockers or move to a new city. You're the envy of so many trans girls right now. XD. It's best you explain the mix-up before things get out of hand. If you're lucky, she'll think it's a funny story and you'll still be able to talk and hang out. The longer this goes on, the more embarrassing it'll be when the truth comes out. Or, just start transitioning for real. It worked for me. Obviously joking, do not transition if it isn't right for you. She didn't think he was passing trying to. I know, I was referring to the kindness she showed him about it. Undefined. This was a whole comedy of errors. I feel for you, man. That said, I know it's incredibly difficult to even think of trying to dig yourself out of a hole like that, but you absolutely have to. If you carry on, and the truth eventually comes out, there's a good chance she's not gonna want to speak to you again. More importantly, if you've been continuing to use the women's room, you need to stop now. It's a super awkward situation. I know, but it's a hell of a lot more awkward for any women who have to share that space with you believing you're a trans woman when you're actually a man. They shouldn't give up their comfort and privacy so you can save face. You need to tell the truth ASAP. That could be extremely awkward if you're using the women's changing room and a woman decides to show up. All jokes aside, I think you can legally get in trouble if you keep using the women's locker room. And if not that, if someone who's against the trans movement finds out that you've been doing this, they're going to turn you into a meme and hold you up as an example of the dangers of trans rights. But this is honestly a hilarious story, bruh. I can see it as an episode of some sitcom. Write a note, or a card, can even be funny, and get a condolences card. Sorry, we've had a miscommunication. I thought the men's room was unavailable when you directed me to the other. And brave returning to the gym, and transitioning back into shape. But putting all these things together, I imagine you were thinking my long hair and, rounder body was a different type of transition. Actually, I'm impressed by your open mind and supportive nature and appreciate your caring even if it doesn't apply to my particular circumstance. I just wanted to come clean because I've appreciated our interactions and don't want to make the change you might have presumed I was making. Just getting fit. Now don't put this in writing. Lamau. You win Reddit today. Get it over with and tell her you goon XD. It won't get any easier with time. I'm pretty sure there's a manga about this. That's so peeping funny. Come clean now. The longer this goes, the more likely you'll be labeled a lying pervert for using the women's changing room and get banned from the gym. This is a start to a rom-com if I have ever heard. Look homie, I can't say anything but play your cards as if you're the main character. Be confident and speak, but seriously don't use the women's bathroom. I smiled at reading this post. Not at you or your unlucky speepy situation, but at the fact that I'm not alone in this whole letting myself go thing. Like there's a lot who put on pounds and have grown hair out. I imagine we can all lose it together as well. I hope things straighten out for you, cause I bet you're a stand-up guy. Just don't stress it and take it easy, bro. I think you might have to transition now. I think the only thing you can do now is fully commit. This is tragically hilarious. Tragilarious. As a trans woman, this is peeping hilarious. Veiled, nothing for it but to burn your apartment to the ground and move to a new city. It's too late to tell her now. Your only option is to actually transition. When you transition to female because of social anxiety. This cannot be real. You didn't question why they said you could use the women's room. Absolute sitcom fodder. In the past they sometimes close off one room at a time to clean it. I guess I just assumed she was there to make sure only one person went in at a time to the women's room while the men's room was unavailable. Does the restroom have multiple stalls and showers? My gym has one male and female bathroom, each with a single toilet, and there is a separate shower, but I pretty much disregard the signs if the male bathroom is occupied. You're in too deep to tell the truth now, Lamau. Sorry, you have to find a new gym. You're in too deep. Hey, why do you have to explain anything at all? If you identify as male, use the men's bathroom. It's her problem if she's confused or embarrassed for mislabeling you. Seriously, if she calls you out for not transitioning, that's even weirder, right? Okay, but imagine if a week from now we see lesbian posting a "today I effed up by crushing on a trans woman at my gym" just to find out it was a cis man all along.